Hello and welcome. My name is Melody and I am going to be sharing my yarn with you. Basically, I knit and crochet from my home here in Texas, and once a week I join you with my Melody Crochet podcast and talk about what I finished, what I purchased, what I'm loving right now, and things in general. I hope that you are having a great week. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and please consider subscribing and liking below also. Let's see, what do we have going on? Monday is my birthday, 2 days away. I'm so excited. So this is the weekend before my birthday. This is probably going to be pretty quick, but I did want to jump in because I finished a few things and I want to share them so that my next episode isn't just crazy long. Because after this, we're going to go to what I call the trilogy, which I'm going to be going to Michael's, Hobby Lobby, and Joann's, which is a new to me Joann's and Hobby Lobby. And I think the Michaels, I'm not sure, I won't know till I'm there. They're really close to home, but they're the opposite direction than I usually travel to, so I'm kind of excited. So that's going to be my Saturday. Then we're going to come home and play video games because that's what we do. We're geeky. It's okay. We accept it. What's new? How you guys doing? February. Today's the 24th of February, 2018. Where did the month go? It's been fabulous. I have been grannying up a storm and I'm about to start a new project. I'll share that with you also because I want to share the yarn with you too. Everything's been very crochet and acrylic, so I'm kind of just building back the stash. Last year I kind of pushed out my acrylic stash and I really just embraced all things wool, alpaca, silk, a ton of sock yarn, which I could say a good portion of it is actually put away right now, just because if I'm not going to be using it, I don't want it to be attracting the elements. Texas is a very humid, hot, crazy back and forth kind of weather, and in the spring welcomes the bugs, and I do not want to lose any wonderful yarn that I don't plan on using right away to bugs, right? So they are safely snuggled somewhere safe and warm and cuddly, but very accessible, because that's necessary for me. I have to have it nearby and be able to see it, but I was worried about it. And I don't plan on making many sock weight projects in the very near future, except for what I left out, which, oh, back there. And there is the immediate future for my sock weight yarn. It's not actually a sock project, so I have to think about that. I think February lady socks, the ones that Kalisha over at the Quirky Monday podcast was mentioning, they might need to be next, but it would be my first lace weight socks, not lace weight, good morning, lacy socks, like that have a pattern of lace in the sock. I think the closest thing I've done so far is blueberry pancake sock, blueberry waffle, and I did those in a DK weight, so that was kind of different. It worked up so fast. I'm wondering how intensive they would be, and I'm thinking I would do them 2 at a time just to make sure I push through, because I do definitely get second sock syndrome. Where's my socks here? The socks I'm thinking about right now are going to be, wow, this is full. I haven't even looked at my sock basket. This is my little sock basket that I put together. I got it and it was like that tan colored fake leather that was so big in the 80s on anything wicker, and I painted it black. Just picked up a little extra dust. Seriously, I have not touched this in way too long. I have some ribbon hanging from it. I just like silky ribbons. And I painted the straps and this black. I think if we look hard enough, oh, inside was actually polka dots, which I thought was adorable. But I took the basket part out, so it's just naked basket inside. And I was thinking, these for my February, or this for my February lady socks, and this is, I'll put it up on the screen, I don't want to be wrong. I want to say Allegria, and I love their sock. This is going to be a sock weight, so it is going to have some nylon content in it. My guess from feeling is we're looking at an 80-20, and it's so soft and silky. I've tried it in so many things, and it just, the pattern kind of eats it up. So it kind of is a bummer, and I am doing it because I don't want to waste these pretty colors on something that wouldn't be worthy of it. So I've had it for about a year. And as I showed you guys before, I have Amber's where, oh, there it is. Amber's sock from the sock yarn that she picked up last year at DFW. And then she tried it and she just does not like sock knitting, which I can't blame her. She's a new crocheter and this was her first knitting project and she's just like, yeah, that's work. And it is kind of work if you're new to knitting. It's definitely dishcloth town where you just stay on dishcloths and worsted weight yarn for at least a few projects before you endeavor. So this is my second ball that I need to make her second sock from. And these are my Knitters Pro carbons. Knitters Pro feels funny on that, but they're definitely the carbons. They're my favorite DPN. I have about 4 sets of the size 0 because size 0 is what I knit my socks in. I have a very loose gauge. You can tell even though I use zeros, woohoo, that's a very loose gauge. So I always get my zeros and I just love them. They work up just so fast. This is mustache yarn in Koi Pond. I've never had any mustache for myself and I'm kind of excited. I'm gonna need some. Hopefully they will be, boop, boop. I'm gonna make you guys dark again. Okay. Hopefully they will be over at DFW in April because we have our DFW yarn, Fiberfest in April. So hopefully they'll be there and hopefully these socks will get some love in addition to the pair that I'm sure I will start this week because I finished a pair. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But let's get into finished objects, shall we? I am having coffee. It's pretty early Saturday morning. We were up way too late last night hanging out with the kids. But it was so fun. I wouldn't trade it. But the next day I'm kind of like, ooh, because I've really gotten myself on a great sleep schedule, which kind of kills me on the weekend evenings when we stay up too late. Now, a few of you might remember that I have been, well, I've always been a fan of Twinkie Chan. I just love her cute, kitschy, adorable style of colorful, happy crochet. And she has some amazing books and I don't think this has actually made it into a pattern yet. She simply wore a pancake scarf one time and I loved it. And I was over in the Twinkie Chan Ravelry group and they were like, where is she? And I'm like, well, some people are like, is she okay? And I'm like, oh, she's good. She's on Instagram all the time. She shares a story all the time. If you want to follow her, she's absolutely adorable. And I'm like, she's fine. Everybody's like, she's fine. She's over on Instagram. She's just not in the group much because she's working a 9 to 5 and she's got a life going on and it's just not hit the priority. So I try and go in there and like keep the ball rolling just a little bit, and I was inspired. I said, we should knit something together because some people were saying they were knitting some projects from her. And I said, well, I don't have a pattern for this, but I think I can wiggle around it. I wanted her pancake scarf. So this is my pancake scarf. I don't love the colors. I have a burnt pancake. Do you guys, when you make pancakes, do you always have the first one burn? That's just, my first pancake always burns. So I do have my burnt pancake. And I have my maple syrup and my butter pat on all of them. I thought of doing every other, but it didn't work for me. So this is my 6-foot pancake scarf and I love it. It's gonna need a little bit of a blocking if I ever get around to it. I think it looks just fine without it. I'm not that picky. This is gonna be, I have a dream of wearing this to IHOP. I don't go to IHOP that often. My husband's gluten-free. But I just want to wear this to IHOP. It's just a quirk, something I have to do, and now I can. I used Red Heart Super Saver, and that was part of the problem. The yarn is fabulous for all things like this, but they didn't have warm brown. They have Cafe Latte. They had gold, which I ended up using. I would have preferred, if I was going to use the gold, I would have preferred warm brown, which this is a very cool tone ashy brown, or Simply Soft once had a glittery brown. It had a little strand of brown glitter in there. Somebody else did that. I'm so jealous. I wish I had found that. That would have been perfect for the maple syrup. I do like, this is cornmeal for the butter pat, which worked out really well for me. And this is the color Erin, Olive Red Hot Super Saver. But that ashy brown for the syrup, I wish that was warmer, but I think it works. So I finished all 10 pancakes, all 10 syrups, all 10 butter pats, and then I was going to put it together, and it was just puckering like crazy when I was sewing the items on. So I did a little something and I hot glued acrylic yarn, and the world didn't end. I was expecting the world to end. I mean, people make it sound like the world was going to end, but no, hot glued it. It probably took 10 minutes to hot glue everything. I had already sewn them together, but I went over it with hot glue anyway because it was just coming apart. If I sewed any tighter, it would pucker, and if I sew any looser, it was just not one solid item. So I used hot glue above, below my seams of sewing, and I hot glued these guys on. There are 2 of them that are actually sewn, and even those I had to hit with the glue just a little bit. So I'm pretty pleased. Plus I have hot glue that smells like vanilla, so my entire scarf smells strongly of vanilla, which is kind of awesome. But I got those on clearance at Michael's forever ago. They're really long glue sticks. I had never gotten long glue sticks, and I was so excited to find them. And they were all scented. And the other one was like pine cone, and I knew I could not get behind that, so I went with vanilla. And I've had them forever because glue sticks last me forever for my hot glue. And I love it. It makes me so happy. Okay, so Pancake Scarf, success, I say. My Twinkie Chan along project is complete. I have to show it on the board now, and I will go ahead and share that pattern. She hasn't got a pattern for it. I would never sell it because hers was just better. It's adorable, but I will share what I did for mine just because it's not out there, and I hate to like, oh, look what I made and not share how to make it. That's just not who I am. Second finished object in my amazing bag. Now, you might notice I was going to be doing some tutorials this week. Isn't it funny how the world just kind of gets in the way when you make a plan like that? But I did not want to gross anybody out. And remember I put my bag together with my pins? Well, one of them got loose. And this looks a lot better now than it did a couple days ago. I didn't even feel it happen. Just a gash. I'm like, the only thing I can figure, one of these was open. I didn't feel it when it actually happened, but it's my best guess that it was just the pin, because it looks like, you know, I put something in, like I put my hand in a bag. If it had a pin sticking out like that, it's my best guess. But I came out with just a gash and Neosporin the heck out of it. It's even darker than it looks. Let me see here. I'm kind of blown out. But this thing was ferocious. It was absolutely terrible. I'm like, I cannot just put my hand in people's faces with my big, because like my burns, that's one thing. I burned myself in the oven like 2 weeks ago. I did this. A couple days later, I did this. This was both reaching in the oven with no mitts and hitting the bar above. And then this, I'm like, I can cover these with band-aids, but that's a bit much. I'm starting to look like a bit of an accident at that point. There have been some people that have requested a certain kind of hat from a certain kind of yarn, and separately and together, but I'd say about 10 people total. And I'm definitely doing that this week, even if my hands are garishly terrible. I'm gonna try to protect them though. I don't know how these crochet people on YouTube keep their hands so darn pretty. I was not blessed with pretty hands to begin with. That's why I have to put the talons on. And if I'm gonna wound them up, I guess if I'm grossing anybody out, they just won't watch. So shameful. So shameful. Okay. So that's where I am. That's my where was I this week story. So next project is my Easter socks from my Jinx yarn. I have this much left. So much. Oh my gosh. Isn't that amazing? It's so glittery and pretty. And here they are. Oh, I do love them so much. You can't see the glitter. Like I said from the get-go, I got a skein where I love the colors more, but the glitter was more dull. I love glitter. Don't get me wrong, if I could have had the stronger glitter, but this is more cool tone in the colors than the other skein that was the exact same colorway, but you know how hand-dyed is, sometimes they're just going to be a little different, and they were warmer tones, more orangey, more yellowy, goldy, and these are so pinky purple. I love it. So those colors just make me so happy, and I started these on last Easter because I'm like lightning, right? But my only goal was to have them done for this Easter. So the question is, what am I going to cast on? Well, I would like to start the February lady socks and have them done by next February. That seems like a pretty safe bet. And I need some St. Patrick's Day socks. So I'm thinking some stripes, something bold, maybe something with green and gold and white. So I'm keeping my eyes out for that. I don't know if I want stripes or speckles, just something fun, big mix of everything. I might dye it myself if I don't find something I love. So this is awesome. Size 0. I used, oh, I should go through my story. You might remember I started my one sock and I finished it a few months ago. Then I started my second. I did this on the 9-inch circulars on ChowGoo, and they were super slow. This was my car knitting forever over the summer. It took me so long, and then I told you guys that if I finished up early, I would have a giveaway, and I will. Because I said if I finished the 3 objects from last week, that I would have a giveaway, which is awesome, right? So I was really pushing to finish, and then I'm like, it's just not gonna happen with these 9-inch circulars. So I went ahead, and my issue was it loosened my gauge so much. So I finished off on a size 1 instead of a size 0, and I went to Magic Circle, and they were done 3 days of pretty much dedicated side knitting. My side knitting, I don't ever sit, and when I'm looking to work on a project, I don't knit. Knitting is what I do in the car, it's what I do in, like, before bed sometimes, in quiet moments. I keep them around. I always have a knitting project in my purse. Took no time at all once I got off those 9-inch circulars. These could have been done months ago, but it's okay. I do think I need to get rid of those though. That took forever. And it loosened my gauge so much, I didn't feel like I could go to another method. I could not have gone to DPN. My DPN knitting with the double points, so with my carbons, is so much tighter even than my Magic Circle. So I went up 1 size and it came out perfect. Where'd they go? They're the same length and same number of stripies. I could not be more pleased. I probably won't take this string out. I'll probably snip it a little bit, but for like 2 or 3 washes. So my ends are all woven in, but I'll keep a little extra string just in case it needs it during the wash, because that happens. You don't want to have your socks unravel. So here they are, and I'm so pleased with them. They are not twins, they are fraternal. They're not identical. And I'm the least perfectionist person on earth. I just love how they feel, and they're pretty rainbow, and that they're Final Fantasy themed, and they're ready for Easter. I could not be more pleased. So, one more, and this one is for the Granny Along with Rosina over at Zines and Roger. Oh, I finished my unicorn poop cardigan. Now, it is not colorful like hers, and that's okay. You can see inside, all my strings are still stringy, but I love it. Oh my gosh. I fringed. Woohoo! And I went with gray. I was gonna do black, but I thought, you know, it's okay. Gray on gray, totally keeping it mellow. I could wear this with anything and feel comfortable with it anywhere. I've had so many compliments on this. I wore it immediately to Walmart, and people stopped me and said, oh my gosh, and did you make that? And I'm like, yes, I did. I told them about the pattern, and I told them how much I changed it up, because I really did. I have 2 panels of 12-inch squares right there, and it's supposed to be 3. It's supposed to be multicolored. It's supposed to have some squares that are actually patched together grannies. So mine's very, very mellow compared to the original. But I just love the style, just the kimono style. So I went ahead and made my squares, my 8 squares. I sewed them together, and by sew I mean with the needle and yarn. Just went back and forth, which I love my seaming. I'm glad I didn't single crochet them together. And then I did, you could tell right here is where the square stopped. And I went around and around with the light gray. By the way, I used a J hook. No, it didn't. Yes, I did. It was a J hook because I wanted to use my I hook and I couldn't. It was just too bulky of a square. I really wanted this drapey. And then I went to dark gray and continued on for 10 rows. I just called it. I was going to do a fancy edge, but I really wanted it clean. I'm very pleased with it. Then I'm like, okay, do I want fringe? I was looking at it, it's pretty plain in gray. So yes, I want fringe. Then I'm like, how much fringe? So easy peasy right here. This is what I did first. And then I got a string and I put a string from here to here, just a long strand of yarn. And I had a book. I used my Boy Scout manual. And I made a ton of fringe out of this light gray, or medium gray is what it's called. And this is Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. This is medium gray and this is light gray. And I wrapped about 150 times. I didn't have to make more fringe. I actually threw a little bit away, so that was more than enough. And I got a string of yarn and I stuck it in here and I stuck the other end here and I pulled taut so I would have a nice line to work from. And then I just saw how often I wanted it. I started in the middle, I put one here. And then I put a couple in the middle of those and then one in between those just so I could stop when I wanted to. I just used the regular old rug hook method with my large crochet hook and they'll stay well. I don't think they need to be hit with any hot glue, but I'll keep an eye out. If they start working themselves out, I'll hit them with some hot glue from the inside. Sometimes you have to do it with a blanket. Sometimes you don't. Fabric glue works too, just something that will saturate it and make that little area like one with the yarn that it's hooked over. Because sometimes they will move. I don't think I've ever had that problem with I love this yarn, but a silkier yarn like your Karen Simply Soft, it'll try and work itself out of a knot. It's just silky, no biggie. Ooh, and it will relax as it gets a little humidity in it. My yarn strands are still a little woo, but it's all good. And I love it. I could not be more pleased with this. And I haven't worn it after, I think I wore it 2 places, then I put it aside to share with you guys. But I love it. I can't believe I didn't have to gauge or anything like that. I'm like, is it going to be huge? Is it going to be small? How do you just make a square like somebody tells you to and take it from there and just think that something's going to fit? Because in the yarn world, a lot of things don't fit right. They're either made for much bigger or much smaller. It's very rare that something hits you just right. But this was so flexible. I think just about anybody could wear this. Smaller, bigger, it's amazing. But very, very cool. I'm really excited. As far as my purchases this week, what am I working on? I shared with you my socks. I haven't started anything. I was just so, I guess, can you be monogamous to 3 projects? I was monogamous to 1 and then the other. So this was number 1. And then I was monogamous to my sock and I was just boom, boom, boom. And then I was monogamous to the Pancake Scarf and just, it works. Who would have thought? Focus, determination. Ew. So I'm not really big on what's next right now. I'm more like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got that all done. I'm still amazed. Who knew? So let's talk about what I've collected. Now this is birth month. As most of you know, I collect all month long. And I wanted to share with you what I've collected over the last week. I hope you don't mind. But let's get into it. Now, I went out on Tuesday and stopped by the local yarn store. So I'm over at the McKinney Knittery. And there's this yarn that I've had for a while that I really wanted. Oh, by the way, it rained. Look what happened to this is not a bag of yarn stamp. I was so bummed. It got soggy. But okay though, still not a bag of yarn. But I got this because I need to see it in a granny stitch. It is the softest and smooshiest yarn. It's crazy yarn. I believe that, yeah, they call it crazy because they take what is left, the ends of Amazing Soft Wonderful yarn, and they twist it up into different combinations. So they have every combination. It was so hard to find two that I want to see together, and I will probably need a few more. It's really well priced. I think it's like $7 each. And what's the combination? 100% fine wool, hand wash, do not agitate. Stonehenge film. Oh, I love them. Stonehenge fiber mill. I've worked with them before, but this is 2-ply sport, and I've looked at it and I've seen it knitted up because Ginger, the owner of the store, has this shawl and it's magic, and she knitted it up. It's really long. She has every color in there. It's so beautiful. But when I looked at it, I'm like, I need to see that crocheted. I just do. Look at the colors. I'm not a big orangey gold person, but this is really muted, and I just couldn't get past the turquoise. I love blue. So pretty. So I am planning to either granny square or granny stripe this yarn into a scarf. And it's so soft. I can't wait to feel it. And I think the colors are just going to play so fun. So let me know what you think. Do you think little granny squares or granny stripe? That's hard. I'll probably go pretty big. Probably do an H hook, maybe a G hook, maybe 4.5 millimeter. I'll try them all though. That's the fun part for me. Some people are like, I don't like to gauge, and with knitting, I don't like to gauge. It's not fun. But with crochet, I gauge every kind of yarn I get. I have this special way of gauging it. I think I showed you guys the finished object of one of those one time, but I'll have to do it with you guys live one day. I just love gauging yarn. I want to see how it works in double crochet. I want to see how it looks in half double crochet. I want to see how it looks in single. I want to see how it looks in a V-stitch. And I can do a swatch in about that much. And usually afterward, the yarn is still pretty usable. So I usually do. And I'll do a couple of them in different, I think different size hooks. Like, where is my project? Ooh. While we were out, we went to this place, and it's called the Groovy Coop, and they have retro inspired used items, houseware, clothes, everything. And I love all things retro. I just love 70s and 60s everything. If I had my way, my entire house would be retro, but the family says maybe not. So I think this was my 5th attempt. Unfortunately, I do not have my 3rd and 4th. I started with a G hook, and I saw this picture. No, I didn't. I saw this blanket at the Groovy Coop and I loved it. It was only $28. I probably should have just bought it because in the end I will spend more on yarn than that. But I didn't. I said to myself, I can make this blanket, right? As one does. And there was no pattern. I hadn't seen a square like that before, and I was just in awe. And let me show you the picture. I just loved it. I was so happy. I was beaming at this blanket, and I had Amber take a picture of me with the blanket. I'm like, take my picture with this blanket. Have you ever been there? And I figured I can go home and make it. Now, it took a while for me to get one this big. I started with an eye hook, and it was really small. I also was overdoing these white parts right here. I was doing 3 singles and then doing 2 in a hole right there to make the number of circles go up, but that wasn't necessary. So I ended up just doing the 16 and then doing a corner on the very last row. I figured the corner would have to start earlier in the pattern for some reason, because it usually does, but it wasn't necessary. It squared up nicely. When I was doing it the other way, I was coming out with extra, so it was kind of buckling out. So I finally found K-hook, worsted weight yarn, and not making it a square until second from the last. And this is so my square. I'm going to be making it in white. It's going to be on the flower and the outside of each square. And I got Impeccable, and I want to say lavender, but I want to be correct also. Nope, Petunia, which is a super light lavender, and I love it. And they call this Amethyst, which is perfect because it's my birthday this month. My birthstone is Amethyst. So it's going to be turquoise, lavender, and amethyst. And it won't be huge, just a little throw to put on the side of the couch sometimes. And I couldn't say no because the Impeccable was half off over at Michael's, which meant it was like $1.75 for this. Like, make it work. Make it work. So that is a new project that I plan and an acquisition. So I got some bulky yarn and we will be working together. And I'm very pleased. Like I mentioned, they had the half off of a ton of yarn, and it was all the loops and threads is half off over at Michael's. And I hate to advertise a sale that is probably over when you guys are watching this, but I'm justifying myself. But I wanted to try this. It's called Lush Alpaca. It's vastly acrylic. Yeah, it's 20% alpaca, 80% acrylic. This one is amethyst also. There's a theme building here. And I got a couple of the white, which is called white. Okay, there we go. And I also got this because I had one in my stash and I can't use it alone. I was trying to make a hat, a certain one for somebody special, and unfortunately I could not pull it off with just one. I pulled out several times. I had to frog back several times trying to change the pattern around, and knitted I could have done it. It takes less yarn, but I could not crochet a hat with just one of these. It's 90 yards and I just couldn't do it. Somebody else, a better person, probably could have, but I tried several ways, and in order to make it something I would wear, it will have to be a little longer. It can be pretty thin, I can stretch it, but I'm not gonna wear like a scully out of bulky yarn, so that's just not gonna happen. And so a little bit of cozy wool. This of course also half off. I don't know what it is. Somebody told me there was a sale. I'm just like, I wasn't even planning on buying yarn. We have this amazing Michael's that I don't get to go to very often, but we made a point of it even though we were in the middle of a drenching rain. It was crazy. You can't see in front of you while driving rain. But we made it there, and it's 2 stories and it's amazing and surrounded by amazing food all over the place. You even have some makeup stores in there, but we didn't get that far because serious rain and it was going to get dark early. Blech. So that was that, and that's all I have, guys. I have a lot of plans of what to start, a lot of grannying ahead of me this week. I have a lot of clay play ahead, and I told a few people that when I finish some granny charms, I will totally let you guys know and pop some in the Etsy shop and have a few presents to send some people that are clay made too. I have a dream of finishing that today. So wish me luck. It's Saturday. It could happen. We don't have any major plans for the night. Just gonna go out, go to some craft stores, have some lunch, come back and vegetate, which is amazing, right? So thank you for watching. I hope you're doing well. If you have any questions or comments, once again, please leave those below. I love to chat with you guys. My question for you this weekend is, what is your favorite decor item to make? Knitted, crochet, any craft at all. What are you just really proud of having in your house? What do you just love to make? Because I am starting on our spring decor along, and that is spring decor along 18. I will be doing that dedicated post on here very, very soon. I will let everybody on Instagram know, and that's the one you're going to mention underneath what you're making for the along and be entered in the 3rd part of the contest. So I'll be back to you with the contests and the giveaways. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and have a good one. Bye. Thanks so much for stopping by. Have any questions or comments, please leave them below. The post with the giveaway and the spring decor along information is coming very soon, and I will post on Instagram when that hits. Also, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and post them. Let's see, we have the Ravelry group. We have that linked below. I'm over on Snapchat. On the Instagram, I am MelodyCrochet. On the Ravelry, I am tired. Well guys, that is all from me. I had a blast. I hope you had a good time too. If you have questions or comments, please leave them below. I love to interact and meet you guys. And please let me know what your favorite thing to make for your home is. That's my question for the week. What do you just love? It doesn't have to be yarn related, but if it is, that's awesome too. What do you just love to make for your home? Or if you have like a housewarming gift to make somebody, what do you like to make for that? Just something you love to make for home decor. And I mentioned that the post about the spring decor along is on its way. I will let everybody know on Instagram and it'll post on here, so please subscribe and hit notifications, and then you'll be notified immediately as soon as that hits. If you are interested in the giveaway for me finishing my 3 objects, please stay tuned. And aside from that, thanks for watching. See you in a few. I tried to kill you. There you go. Okay, you're settled.